Anyways, I'm going to hold that thought because I'm here in the bush ready to collapse onto this Anubis. I'm going to start by silencing him. A couple of auto attacks will end up putting him in the grave. I'm a little bit scared of the enemy, what's-his-face, Sobek, but I'll be able to kill the Odin nonetheless because the Sobek didn't seem to want to focus on me. This crit to help me in a lot of different situations. Well, why would he jump in? I'm going to be able to proc my first ability and literally shred him completely. Dashing behind the enemy Anubis will allow me to kill the Anubis as well, and that only leaves two people, the Sobek and the Uller, left alive. So this is looking like either a Gold Fury to go Executioner and Kins. I would regularly recommend that you just go Executioner. Silence on the Sobek is going to be very effective, force him to dash out. I'm going to be able to go onto the enemy Odin and kill him with that very last auto attack. You can see just how much damage we're dealing even to some of the tanks with this build. Hello, hope you guys are doing well, and today I'm bringing you some Izanami gameplay. I decided to play Izanami this time around because I don't play Izanami that often and she's a lot of fun. Also, I want to try her out with some new itemization that I thought could be fun. In this video, we're going to cover quite a couple of things. Obviously, we're going to cover a little bit about Izanami, we're going to cover a little bit about how to play ADC, and then also we're going to cover the build pretty in depth. As you guys know, I often like to talk about the builds very. We're going up against an Uller and a Sobek. Sobek is the absolute bane of my existence, so we're going to have to be careful in the early laning phase. But after that, we should have no issue in the later half of the game when we can literally one-shot him with this build. And again, we'll talk about the build a little bit later. But it is or was at the top of your screen in the form of a screenshot if that was your main purpose for clicking on this video. Anyways, that's kind of my little bit of an intro. I hope you guys are doing well today. Try my best not to get plucked under tower because they're about to hit level 2. But yeah. Morgan support, which is interesting. Not the worst thing. In Smite 2, literally everything is possible. So I don't think it's too much of an issue. Is there anything else I had to mention before we can get on to just straight up commentary? Nice stun. Wow, I weaved my ability in between literally everything and hit nothing. That's always a good start. What was I going to say? Oh, what this video is not is it's not like a Izanami guide. I'm not going to be like, this is what your first ability does, this is what your second ability does, this is how you combo together different abilities and things of that nature. But I already do have an Izanami guide up on YouTube, so if that is something you're looking for or something that you need, if you've never played Izanami before, then I'll try to link it down in the description. But in case I forget, you can always just go into my channel and look at the character guide section, and I have Izanami's guide there alongside a lot of different guides. Okay, long-winded intro. The main purpose of the early game is going to be clearing the wave and then also clearing these jungle camps around the mid lane. And Izanami is really good at this because she probably has the very best wave clear of any ADC. Ooh, I got plucked. I mean, I have my dash. I might even have to beads here because if I get knocked up by the Sobek into a stun from the Uller and just a bunch of damage, it could end up being pretty troublesome. But making use of the beads, we were actually able to get away from it. And now we just have to play really safely until that beads is back up, because again, against Sobek, any little mistake, literally stepping up an inch too far gets you killed. Anyways, Izanami is really good at controlling the jungle camps around the ADC lane, which is probably the most important factor as to whether you're going to succeed in this lane and whether you're going to be great at ADC or just another ADC, is going to be how well you can control the jungle camps around the kind of surrounding the ADC area, the dual lane. And it really does come up to a lot of the times who has the better clear. Now Izanami is often not going to be out cleared, but also it's hard for me to step up against a Sobek, again because I could easily get plucked into a really horrible position, or even on top of that I could just straight up just take a lot of damage because they do a lot of damage. This is a very like powerful early game centric kind of, what am I trying to say, combo that they have. Anyways, they're trying to go for the invade. I do have the Nemesis here, which is going to help hopefully secure this camp, and now also kill the Uller as well. I'm hoping that we're able to kill this Sobek. The ultimate is going to be very nice from the Nemesis and is going to slow him quite a lot, and one final auto attack on my part will actually end up grabbing us that kill on the Sobek, and that is going to help tremendously, again, mitigate some of the aggressiveness and kind of difficulties that come with laning with such an aggressive high CC lane. It's going to allow me to also get a free back and get my first item. Alright, so I want to quickly cover some of the strengths and weaknesses to playing Izanami. Unfortunately, they did take this camp. I'm going to try to control the jungle camps around the objective, but again, until this Sobek leaves, I'm not going to have a very easy time in this lane. And even after he leaves, it's kind of the similar situation, whereas if I step up a singular inch against the Sobek, he can pluck me and CC me and put me in a horrible position. Similarly, if I get hit by the axe on the Uller, I will lose half my health very rapidly, if not more. So either way, we're going to have to be a little bit careful in this lane, even after he leaves. My Morgans showed up, but they're already way back there, so I don't know if we're going to be able to do much of anything. I dashed up to maybe try to get them to step up while the Morgan was here so we can try to do something. And unfortunately, I did get hit by that stun. And again, this is what I was talking about with like in my entire health about to evaporate. I'm going to go ahead and silence them to ensure that they can't cast abilities here and give me a chance to get away. I could teleport over here, but he started charging his ult. Thankfully, he didn't notice that I was dashing right into him, and that is going to give me the necessary distance between me and him to actually allow me to get away. Nemesis is here, and she might end up doing something as well. Anyways, as I was mentioning, strengths and weaknesses to the character. Her first strength we kind of already covered. She has probably the strongest, if not one of the strongest wave clears in the entire game. Secondarily, she has a pretty decent escape. She has a pretty decent ultimate. It does a pretty large amount of damage. The silence is very useful. It's good at like securing even some objectives. It does a really large amount of damage for someone that's not going to be building too heavily into strength in favor of, you know, attack speed, critical strike chance, tank shred, things of that nature. She's really good at split pushing. She gains an immense amount of attack speed from her one. She has a really good auto attack stim on her. Her probably biggest weakness is going to be the fact that she has no CC immunity. A lot of the ADCs are going to have CC immunity, and a lot of times I find myself preferring the ADCs that have CC immunity. Because it allows you to kind of very safely play by kind of, you know, substituting your beads cooldown with your ultimate cooldown if you have CC on your ultimate. Especially up against someone like the Sobek, it ends up helping quite a lot, knowing that if you end up needing to use your beads because you fucked up on your positioning just a tiny bit, and that's the thing about how punishing that character is. It doesn't even have to be such horrid positioning that you have. Literally just an inch too far up, and it could lead to a catastrophic kind of downfall for you. Knowing that if you end up having to beads, you can also go ahead and substitute it with a CC immune ultimate or something like that is very nice to have. And it's not just against Sobek. I mean, every viable support is going to have pretty large amounts of CC or a really large ability with really good CC on it. And that coupled with, you know, in team fights so much could happen, you're going to want to have some CC immunity. So that's her biggest weakness, is that she doesn't have built-in CC immunity. Her second weakness is, while her clear is among the best, it requires you to step up close and personal right at the front of the wave to make full use of it. Whereas someone like this Uller is going to step up for half a second to just cast his first ability, clear the entire wave, and then reposition somewhere else and start poking me down. Whereas I have to step up to the wave to clear efficiently and sit here and auto attack it, which makes me a prime target to get hit by collateral damage, whether it be from some of his auto attacks or some abilities that he's throwing at the wave. So those are just kind of some things that I wanted to mention about Izanami, but don't let those things dissuade you, because when you get to late game and you have a proper build like the one we're going to talk about here and today in this video, you are going to completely shred your targets, whether it be squishier characters or tankier characters alike. It doesn't really matter. Now, Morgan did decide to kind of take a very aggressive position in the bush. I'm sure that they saw her. He did get the stun off. I'm hoping that he jumps, and I'm waiting for the jump, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. I'm going to hit him with the ultimate, and that will end up finishing off the Uller. And I'm going to dash up against this support Sobek, but I won't be able to deal enough damage to kill him. However, the Nemesis is on her way, and this might allow us to grab that kill. Did start walking towards tier 2, so I'm hoping the Nemesis can kill him. She just does need to watch out to not get plucked into tier 2 and knocked up, because that could end up being a lot of tower damage that might end up actually getting her killed. Jungler is here, the Odin. He's just going to go ahead and ult and then probably walk away. I don't know why he jumped into 3 people, but he did and wasted his ult. And with the Uller and Sobek backing and the Odin having no ult, we're in a decent position to do this Gold Fury. So we're going to go ahead and try to attempt to go for this, maybe. I do have to notice that there are people here, so probably not. There's some world in which we probably could have done that. Here in a second, I'm going to talk a little bit about the build. Pretty in-depthly, not a little bit, a lot about the build, but I want to mention a couple of things beforehand. If you're enjoying this video so far, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Specifically, subscribe with notifications on so you don't miss out on any future content, to include videos like these, just gameplay build videos. or, you know, guides, character guides like my complete Izanami guide, or just like general Smite guides like my complete beginner's guide. So if any of those things interest you, if you're new to Smite, or even if you're an experienced Smite player looking for some good builds, then go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of those videos. Also, if you want to play with me, oh, let me go ahead and dash him. Actually, he's going to end up hitting the dash, which is going to end up being a lot of damage. Also, he's not attempting to juke my autos. He just walks for a pretty large amount of time in some random direction. I missed my ultimate as well, and I wouldn't be able to kill him. That is quite embarrassing. He didn't attempt to juke at all. He kept, this should be able to kill him. He overstayed his welcome a little bit, and I was able to grab the second ability kill after dashing. Yeah, he didn't attempt to juke. He kept walking in the same direction. He picked a direction to run and then walked for like 3 seconds in that direction while auto attacking. And then he switched it up and started walking that direction for like 3 seconds. So that's going to help me a lot, kind of recognizing that pattern. That's going to help me a lot in the next fight, because I haven't really been fighting him. Because again, it's not really your job to fight the enemy and kill him. Your job is to clear the wave and clear the jungle camps around the objectives so you can get gold, more items, and then once you have an item lead, maybe then you can stress that lead and, you know, fight your enemy target. And with an extra item lead or extra level leads, by controlling the jungle, all the experience and gold around the ADC lane, you're going to have a much safer chance of killing them, and that's where the true power lies in playing ADC. But yeah, now that I know what his juke pattern looks like, and these are the kinds of stuffs that you have to be paying attention to when you're fighting, right? You're not going to have every single, you know, fight go your way, but pay attention to why you lost so much health. Right there, I managed to kill him. Oversight for him to stay at such low health, but start to notice why I took so much health and why I wasn't able to kill him faster. And it's because I couldn't really predict that he would just not juke. But now that I know his kind of juke pattern, it might make it a little bit easier to fight him the next time, unless he's smart and starts switching it up. Also, he has that and not beat. So see, now I was able to hit quite a lot of auto attacks in very fast manner, knowing his general juke pattern. And now I was able to dispatch him generally easily without even having to lose more than 1/4 of my health. So those are the types of things that you have to be paying attention to. The enemy's juke patterns, even just when they decide to fire abilities and things of that nature to allow you to win your lane. Because in a game like Smite, everything is going to count, right? All of the little things are going to come together. You getting that extra minion is going to come together to you hitting level 5 before they do, right? You noticing their juke patterns is going to allow you to hit those extra 2 auto attacks to get the kill instead of being killed or watching them walk away, right? You getting that extra jungle camp is going to be the differentiating factor between you coming back to lane with a full item and them not coming back to lane with a full item. So those are the kind of things that you want to be paying attention to when you're playing really any role, but specifically for this video, we're talking about ADC. Anyways, if you have any questions for me or want to talk with me, chat with me, or play some games with me, then you can go ahead and join the Discord server that I've linked down for you guys in the description. Also, if you just want some friendly, non-toxic people to play Smite 2 with, you can also do it that way. I'm gonna hope that I'm able to kill him, but I did miss my slow because as opposed to running, he ended up stopping for the totem, which I did not expect. I really expected him to know that I was here, but by the looks of it, he didn't really know. I'm going to attempt to dash into him here and hope that I'm able to kill him with that, but his shield should be coming back on cooldown and we won't be able to do that, unfortunately. That's honestly my bad. If I literally would have waited a second more, I would have noticed that he was going for the totem and hit him with the slow and allow me to get the kill. Oh, interesting. I'm gonna get hit by that. I'm surrounded by like their entire team. I do have my beads and my ultimate ready, so I'm gonna go ahead and stay, and here I'm gonna be able to ult them and remove a lot of their options by silencing them, and the Neath is going to be able to finish off the Anubis. I'm gonna dash in one direction and then start walking the other to trick this Uller, because if he would have dashed and like unstealthed me, it would have been a pretty easy kill on his part. I stayed to do what I had to do. I was very low health. I stayed just to silence them and get the kill on the Anubis. Doesn't mean I have to continue to stay, because at this point I have 4 kills. So literally me staying serves no purpose other than giving them a chance to shut me down and get a pretty huge lump sum of gold. That's also something that I want to talk about, and something that you have to pay attention to, right? The further ahead you are, the more gold you're going to give them if you die, right? So even here, when he's low, this Odin is getting literally shredded by me. I still don't really want to die, but I will be able to kill him from a large, you know, really far distance. I keep my distance. I'm a ranged character. I'm going to use that range to my advantage and not step in close enough to be killed. if I don't have to, right? Make sure to juke the high profile abilities, and now that that ability is down, I can go in pretty heavily. Now this guy's juking is much more different than the Ullr's juking. This guy's actually attempting to juke. That ultimate is going to hit me, but did very little damage because he's building tank. Also, that's one thing, he's building tank. So if you guys were wondering why I was literally hitting him for like 0 damage, that is why. But again, don't want to step up too far. Make sure I hit the slow to attempt to grab that kill on him. And he's going to be able to get away again due to the fact, oh, I might actually die here. I mean, at least if I die, the Sobek gets the shutdown gold, which is not the worst thing ever. Very different juke pattern. Also, he's building tank, and I'm not equipped to build, or at that time I wasn't equipped to fight against tanks, but now I am because I got my executioner. And again, we'll talk about the build here in a second. There's just so many things that I have to talk about and teach you guys this game. So I'm sorry if I'm just switching from one thing to another. I hope you guys are at least learning something. Yeah, anyways, join the Discord server if you want non-toxic friends to play Smite 2 with. And then finally follow me on Twitch if you want some live gameplay. I think that's all I had to talk about. Alright, back to farming. We have a pretty large lead, an actual 3-level lead up against the Ullr. So this Ullr should never really be any issue. You would have to hit 2 stuns and rounds of abilities to be able to kill me. Whereas if he misses 1 stun and I'm able to basically be near enough to deal my damage, he should pretty easily die. Now that I have some spare time while I'm just farming this side of the jungle, I'm going to go ahead and start talking about the build. First and foremost, lifesteal, up to you. Oh, also one thing that I forgot to mention, if you want to use this build, I have this build in the Smite God builder system. So the next time you play Izanami, you can look up Daxon in the little search bar. It has to be exact, so DAXONN, and you can actually use this build. You can even auto build it so the game builds it for you if that's something you're interested in. But yeah, lifesteal is up to you. If you want lifesteal, you can have lifesteal. I decided not to go lifesteal this round because I wanted to do just a whole lot of damage, and I wanted to test just how good my positioning could be. So that's why we don't have lifesteal this game. And also, it's not necessary. I mean, it really isn't. It really is up to you. If you really heavily rely on the lifesteal, then it could come in handy. And again, it's completely up to you. In this game, I'm really confident in my positioning and ability to avoid incoming damage, and I can do a lot with the extra damage from the first item that I ended up going for. He did end up hitting the stun, so unfortunately, I'm going to have to back off. And then with the Odin here being here as well, I'm going to seek asylum from this nemesis. Hopefully she starts walking over here to assist me just in case I get into any trouble. And if this Odin keeps chasing, then we actually have a chance to turn it around on him and kill him. But unfortunately, the Sobek is here. I'm going to go ahead and silence them to stop them from doing too much damage to me. And I'm going to be able to dash away over to safety. And now, if anything, I could come back into this fight, but unfortunately, with the Mulan, the Neith being so far away from this fight, it's looking like there's just no way we're going to turn that around, so I'm going to just go back to farming. No beads for quite a while, so I have to keep that in mind. And that's exactly what I was talking about with the Sobek. It's just so threatening. To be out of position by just an inch and get pulled into their entire team is very threatening. And the only saving grace the times that it has happened has been the fact that we're able to silence at least 1 or 2 people and stop them from doing too much damage to us. But yeah, so my first item, it's going to be Dagger of Frenzy. Dagger of Frenzy is just really overpowered early game. It falls off a little bit late game, but if you can use that large amount of attack speed and bonus damage from the Dagger of Frenzy in the early game to either help you clear and secure some camps fast, or even help you get some early game kills like I did this match, if you're willing to play a little bit aggressive to make it worth it, then this item could really skyrocket you into a much larger lead than you would get otherwise. And it just kind of helps you snowball if you're playing aggressive. So that's why the Dagger of Frenzy is there. It's a really good starting item, first or second item. It does a lot of damage. After that, it kind of starts to fall off just a little bit as compared to other items. A lot of damage we're going to do to him, and actually we're going to be able to kill him with the help of the Neith and friends. I'm going to dash right after this enemy mid laner. Not going to pursue him much further because this Gold Fury is up, and this is a much better reward than just killing that tank. Now I do have to watch out for this Anubis because again, I do not have the beads, and getting hit by his wrap could be pretty detrimental at this stage of the game. I want to do the Gold Fury, but my team seems to want to fight this. I'm here for like moral support, but I'm also half health, and any bit of CC could put me in some real danger here. Make sure that I hit the silence over here to assist my Anubis in not dying. Break the wall down, see if he needs to run. Now that he jumped, I'm going to be able to shred him pretty easily with some auto attacks, and now this Anubis is going to get shredded just as easily as that enemy Odin. Finally, it's only the poor, what's his face, left, Vulcan, and we'll be able to pick up the kill on the Vulcan too. Again, you guys might be wondering why he's not taking damage. Let me remind you, the Vulcan is the solo laner. He's building like full tank. Once we get our second tank shred item, we should be able to crit him even easier. But even considering like the Sobek took just so much damage, and the only reason it was a little bit harder to kill the Vulcan is because Vulcan actually jukes incoming damage, and because he has that passive from his aspect that gives him extra protections for being around his appliances or whatever. Anyways, so we talked about the Dagger Frenzy. Now I am going to be going crit this build. Again, it's up to you. The build variety is endless. You can build crit, you can build tank shred, proc builds with something like a Tearfing Braggy's harp combo, even a Sunbeam bow. Like, you can really go whatever you want. I like building crit quite often. So oftentimes my starter item is always going to be Gilded Arrow. Usually if I am building crit, I'm going for the Gilded Arrow. End of discussion, period. Because that allows me to go much more diverse items like throughout the rest of my build. If you don't go Gilded Arrow, you don't have that guaranteed critical strike chance from your first item, and it makes it so that you either have to buy 3 full crit items in your like regular item slots, or you have to build Rage and another crit item. And the problem with Rage to me is that you have to stack it, so if you don't do good, it could be quite hard to stack if you're struggling in lane. But secondly, and probably most importantly, that item only gives you crit, doesn't give you anything else. Whereas if I go Gilded Arrow, I gain attack speed, I gain crit. Demon Blade gives me crit and attack speed, which works very well together. And then finally, Deathbringer gives me crit and an increased damage to crit. So I'm getting something else other than just the crit. There's some diversity to it. Anyways, I'm going to hold that thought because I'm here in the bush ready to collapse onto this Anubis. I'm going to start by silencing him. A couple of auto attacks will end up putting him in the grave. I'm a little bit scared of the enemy what's-his-face Sobek, but I'll be able to kill the Odin nonetheless because the Sobek didn't seem to want to focus on me. And now hopefully we can catch up to the Sobek, and now he's not that scary when he's alone. When he's with other people, it's scary, but if he's alone, you can see all basically he could do is run. But yeah, you get some diversity in your build. Getting that much attack speed is always good with crit for a couple of reasons. First of all, there's 2 ways to increase your critical strike chance. 1, buy more critical strike chance, and 2, buy attack speed. So you attack more, and those attacks have a chance to crit. So, right, the more you attack, the more chance you have to hit an attack that crits. The more critical strike chance, the higher chance each one of those attacks has to actually crit. So I hope that kind of makes sense. But the difference between just buying more crit or buying more attack speed is if you buy more crit, that's just it. You're impacting your crit. Whereas if you buy attack speed, you're actually not only impacting your critical strike chance by giving you a higher chance to crit through, again, just straight up hitting more auto attacks, but also you're impacting things like your Executioner, right? Executioner shreds enemy protections per auto attack that you hit, stacking up to, I believe, 4 times. So if you have high amounts of attack speed, you can stack up that Executioner faster, which means you're dealing more damage, especially to some of the tankier characters. If you're going something like a Kinsblade, which we are going to go this match, hold that thought as we run into this enemy solo laner who literally used everything on me to include the ultimate, and now the Morgan is here to kind of assist me. I have to keep my distance a little bit because a knock-up into a Ullr ability set could be very detrimental to me, and you can't bead the knock-up unless I like preemptively beads it. But also there's another person here, so I kind of want to be a little bit careful. It's just me and the Morgan, so there's no real reason to be too kind of uncautious, I guess, with my life. And with the amount of damage that I took, I'm gonna have to end up back into base. Thank God he missed that. Anyways, yeah, so attack speed is going to help a lot with other factors, right? Including even like with my Odysseus bow is going to help me get more Odysseus bow procs. So if you gain attack speed and not focus on crit so much, you're going to have a lot of variety. You're going to shred tanks better. You're going to apply proc effects better. You're going to kill squishiers better, right? It's going to have multiple effects. Whereas if you just buy a bunch of crit, it's just going to help you crit better, right? And, you know, I'll let you decide what you want there. All that very long-winded explanation as we join this fight. We should be able to kill him pretty easily, make sure that I don't get hit by the ultimate. Now that he has actually used his beads, my slow could prove to be very effective. He dashed over the speed buff wall, but I'll be able to chase him pretty easily with my dash. Fortunately, he's very fast, but the Nemesis will be able to finish him off. So yeah, that's kind of my rant on crit versus, or rage versus a bunch of crit versus some attack speed and so on and so forth. So Gilded Arrow allows me to get some diverse crit items that offer more than just crit to help me in a lot of different situations. Well, why would he jump in? I'm going to be able to proc my first ability and literally shred him completely. Dashing behind the enemy Anubis will allow me to kill the Anubis as well, and that only leaves 2 people, the Sobek and the Ullr, left alive. So this is looking like either a Gold Fury or a Fire Giant, and considering that our tank is backing to base, it's going to look like it's like we're going to have to settle for a Gold Fury. Sorry, I'm having trouble talking apparently. But yeah, what was I saying? what was I saying actually? Oh, diversity in builds. With this build, you can do it all, right? You can walk up and one-shot the squishies. As you notice, we could one-shot the tanks all the same. Obviously, it's going to take a little bit longer than the squishies, but within one cast of our first ability, we should be able to do in the tanks very, very easily. And then also, we can shred objectives and things of that nature. So you're able to do multiple things. Whereas if you build a lot of crit, it could be easily countered by something like a spectral armor, right? That's going to not allow you to deal with some of the tankier characters. Whereas this build has a lot of variety. You can deal with the tanks, you can deal with the squishies, you can one-shot, you can split push. Like, it allows you to do more things. And basically where I'm trying to go with this is I tend to, when I build ADC, not want to put all my eggs in one basket and rather be able to handle basically whatever the enemy team throws at me. And I'll put that topic to rest because I've spent like half the video talking about it. But again, I'd like to help you guys understand why you're building the items that you're building. As opposed to just telling you build this because I said so and because I'm better. Now you know why you're building these items. All right, so we talked about the starter item. We talked about Dagger of Frenzy. Demon Blade I already kind of covered. It's very good critical strike chance early, and with the passive, if you hit a critical strike, you gain attack speed. It also offers attack speed other than just the critical strike. Nice little dash from the Sobek. Will not connect, thankfully, and she will not be taunted, or rather pulled into their entire team. Now I do have the beads available. I have the ult available. Why does this guy keep ulting me? This is insane. I'm half health, but I still could stand to do quite a lot here. I'm gonna go ahead and go for the silence. I don't know if I actually hit anyone, but my auto attack should prove quite effective. Sobek is my first target, and we should be able to kill him pretty easily. I'm gonna dash after him to ensure that we're able to kill him, and that will be an easy kill on our part. Now, if that root would have hit, we would have literally killed like 3 people. But now I do have to keep my distance at least just a little bit because I'm within one ability's range of dying. So I'm gonna instead focus on this Phoenix. But anyways, like I was saying, Demon Blade gives you attack speed, it gives you critical strike chance, and a lot of the times, even though you don't have that much critical strike chance just with this item, when you do hit that crit, the like resulting attack speed that you get is a lot of the times an unexpected amount of damage that you're going to deal to your ADC and could lead to an unexpected kill that they're not ready for. After that Executioner, I decided to go Executioner before Odysseus Bow. Odysseus Bow is good if you're not dealing with tanks that are being troublesome, but because I'm dealing with this annoying ass Sobek and annoying ass fucking enemy Vulcan that just keeps ulting me on cooldown, I'm gonna need some avenue to be able to kill them. Speaking of the Vulcan ult, swing and a miss. I'm gonna need an avenue to be able to deal with some of these tankier characters early on. So that's where the Executioner comes in. It's going to allow you to shred some of the enemy tankier characters' protections, and it's also going to give you some attack speed, which I already went pretty in depth about, so I'm not going to go on another spiel about it. After that, Odysseus Bow just gives you a bunch of attack speed. Again, attack speed to constantly have a higher chance to crit without actually buying a really high, heavy, only crit item. And it's also going to just allow you to stack your Executioner faster, allow you to proc your later on Kinsblade faster, and it's just a good amount of damage. After that, Deathbringer is going to be basically a staple in every critical strike chance build because not only does it give you crit and a decent amount of power, or rather strength, but it also increases the damage of each individual crit, right? So now with 3 crit items under your belt, counting your starter item, you can crit quite often with your high attack speed. You have higher chance to crit because you're attacking more often, and when you do crit, courtesy of Deathbringer, you're going to crit for a pretty high amount of damage. And finally, finishing it off with a Kinsblade because we're still having a little bit of trouble dealing with this Vulcan. The Sobek, not so much. We can shred the Sobek pretty easily, but we still want to be able to completely dissuade these tanks from ever going on me, and Kinsblade is going to allow me to basically one-shot them just as easily as I one-shot the squishier characters when I couple it with my Executioner, right? Executioner is going to counter their high protections. Kinsblade is going to counter their high health bars. Ooh, this is not a position I want to be in. Real quickly going to make sure that I take my dash and also Wind Sprite out of there because I ran into, like, face first into a couple people. But yeah, that's the build. Now, obviously, there's some items that you can substitute out. If you want some lifesteal, you can buy Devil Gloves or whatever lifesteal item you want as your first item or your second item. Usually your first item, especially if you're going for Devil Gloves, so you can stack it. If the enemy team has no tanks or the tanks aren't that good, you don't have to go Executioner and Kins. I would regularly recommend that you just go Executioner. Silence on the Sobek is going to be very effective. Force him to dash out. I'm going to be able to go onto the enemy Odin and kill him with that very last auto attack. You can see just how much damage we're dealing even to some of the tanks with this build. But yeah, if their tanks aren't that good, if they don't have tanks, if their tanks aren't really threatening to you, then you can go ahead and forego one, if not both, of the items. Ooh, I'm gonna have to beat that. Oh, look how much damage we're dealing. Oh, he almost died. Tank items in either wanting to get some proc items like Tear Finger Braggies. Oh, let me not die. Or something like a more critical strike chance or more attack speed. If their tanks are very threatening, you might want to get the Kinsblade earlier on. Like if you just cannot get through their wall of tanks, then maybe forego going that last crit item, like delay it and then go the Kinsblade a little bit sooner. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. I hope it was like you learned a lot. I don't know if we're going to be able to end, but I already started doing my outro, so I hope we're able to end. But yeah, we talked about a little bit about Izanami. We talked a little bit about ADC. We talked really in-depthly into the build and some other random stuff that I decided to go on tangents for. We might not be able to end, so I guess I'm going to have to continue yapping. Again, I do have, or like, follow the Discord, subscribe, all of those things. The next guides that I'm going to be posting are the Hoyi guide and Artemis guide. I think those are the next ones coming up. Oh, he jumped me. I'm going to go ahead and silence him and hit him with a couple of auto attacks. Nemesis will pick up that kill. Why would he jump me? And now this Phoenix should end up falling pretty easily. And now it's looking like we're going to be able to end, especially with the Morgan being able to finish off that Uller. This Sobek should die to my hand. And it's finally only the Vulcan that's left alive, and he's not going to be able to defend this on his own. If you guys enjoyed that video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Again, don't miss out on any future videos. Check out the channel. I probably have something posted that you already enjoy. Join the Discord if you need any help, or dude, I am not going to be able to kill this guy, but I could just turn around and end the game at any point, so there's that. Anyways, join the Discord and follow my Twitch. Love you guys. Bye.